Hi there, hope you have a fantastic day today. This lesson I'm going to teach you how to simplify trigonometry function involving complementary angles. So let's go straight into it. So let's say we have a triangle here, a right angle triangle. So let's name this angle here is theta. Now we know that in a triangle, all the angles add up to 180 degrees. And we already have 90 degrees. So therefore, this angle here is 90 minus theta. Okay? And let's name these sides here. So this is A. Let's name this B. And this is C. So if we want to find sine of this angle here, so sine of 90 degrees minus theta. Now sine is opposite over hypotenuse. And opposite here, and this is hypotenuse. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So which is A over C. But then if we're looking at this angle here, so that is, let's say, cos of this angle. So cos of theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And this is adjacent and this is hypotenuse from this angle. So therefore, we have A over C. So therefore, you can see that sine of 90 degrees minus theta is equal to cos of theta. Because sine of 90 minus theta is A over C. Cos of theta is also A over C. So therefore, we know that sine of 90 degrees minus theta is equal to cos of theta. So this is sine of 90 minus theta equal cos of theta. Now let's find cos of 90 minus theta. So if we find cos of 90 degrees minus theta, so that means cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So this is adjacent and this hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse. So B over C. Then if we want to find out the sine of theta, so sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So sine in this case for this angle here, so this is opposite, this is hypotenuse. So therefore, sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse, that is B over C. So therefore, you can see cos of 90 minus theta is exactly the same as sine of theta. So let me just write this down. So cos of 90 degrees minus theta is equal to sine of theta. So there you go. So cos of 90 minus theta is equal to sine of theta. So let's work out tan of 90 minus theta. So let me clear this first. So let's work out tan of 90 minus theta. So tan of 90 degrees minus theta. Now tan is opposite over adjacent. So this angle here, so this is opposite and this is adjacent. So A over B. So A over B. But then let's find out tan of theta. So tan of theta. So tan is opposite over adjacent. Now in this case, so this is opposite because this is the angle we're looking at. And this is adjacent. So B over A. So tan of theta is equal to B over A. So it's almost the same as tan of 90 minus theta. Except it's reciprocal if you think about it. So let me just flip this equation here. So tan is just like tan over 1. So if I flip both sides, so that is 1 over tan of theta is equal to A over B. Now this is the same. So therefore, tan of 90 minus theta is equal to 1 over tan of theta. So let me just write this down. So tan of 90 minus theta is equal to 1 over tan of theta. There you go. 1 over tan of theta can be written as cot of theta. So that is equal cot of theta. So therefore tan of 90 minus theta is equal to cot of theta. Now let's explore this a little bit further. So let me just write this down. Tan, we know that tan of 90 degrees minus theta is equal to 1 over tan of theta. This is exactly the same as over 1, right? So if I flip both sides, so this will becomes 1 over tan of 90 degrees minus theta is equal to, we flip this right hand side as well, equal tan of theta. But remember 1 over tan we can write as cot. So on the left hand side here is exactly the same as cot of 90 degrees minus theta is equal to tan of theta. So let me just write down here. So that means cot of 90 degrees minus theta is equal to tan of theta. There you go. So let me just recap all the things that we just did so far. So we need to know that cos of 90 minus theta is equal to sine of theta. Sine of 90 degrees minus theta is equal to cos of theta. Tan of 90 degrees minus theta is equal to cot of theta. The fourth one is cot of 90 minus theta is equal to tan of theta. So please keep those in mind for me, okay? It's very important. So a few more things I need to go through. So first one, so we know that cot of theta is equal to 1 over tan of theta. Now to remember this, the third letter will help you to remember T for tan, okay? So cot of theta is equal to 1 over tan of theta. And the other one is cosec of theta is equal to 1 over sine of theta. So this is the third letter to help you remember, S for sine. And last one is sec of theta is equal to 1 over cos of theta. So this is the third letter as well. So please keep that in mind for me as well, okay? So cot of theta is 1 over tan of theta. Cosec of theta is 1 over sine of theta. And sec of theta is equal to 1 over cos of theta. So please keep that in mind, okay? So let's go through a few examples. So simplify this. So first one, so let me just clear this one first. So we know that cosec of theta, remember the third letter will help you. So the third letter is sine. S for sine. So therefore this one is equal to 1 over sine of theta times by tan of theta. Now tan of theta, remember, is equal to sine over cos from last video, okay? So tan is sine theta over cos of theta. But then these two sides, I can simplify it out. So therefore the answer is 1 over cos, because this is 1 and this is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So the top is equal to 1 and the bottom here is 1 times cos of theta is cos of theta. But then 1 over cos, okay, remember we need to write in simplest form. So 1 over cos is sec of theta. So the third letter to help you. So sec of theta, the third letter to help you, okay? C for cos if you like. Second one, so simplify cot of 90 degrees minus theta times cos of theta. So cot, so we know cot of 90 minus theta is equal to tan of theta. So that will give me tan of theta times by cos of theta. But then tan of theta is equal to sine of theta over cos of theta. So just write it out. So sine of theta over cos of theta. And of course, which is times cos of theta. Now, cos of theta, both of these can simplify because this is just like over 1. So the answer is sine of theta over 1. So that is sine of theta. There you go. Now, please pause the video and try this one yourself. Hi, I'm back. How did you go? So let me go through them with you. So if you think about it, okay, tan of theta is equal to sine of theta over cos of theta. But then we want cot of theta. Cot of theta is 1 over tan. So 1 over 10. So if we write this as like over 1 and we just flip both sides, so that will give me 1 over 10 of theta is equal to cos of theta over sine of theta. So in another word, 1 over 10 is cot. So cot of theta is equal to cos of theta over sine of theta. So please keep that in mind for me, okay? So tan of theta is sine of theta over cos of theta. Cot of theta is equal to cos of theta over sine of theta, okay? So please keep that in mind. So that will give me cos of theta over sine of theta. But then sec of theta, the third letter to help you to remember, C for cos, okay? So is equal to 1 over cos of theta, but is times. So times 1 over cos of theta. So now what we do, we just simplify. So these two can simplify out. So that will give me 1 over sine of theta. There you go. But then 1 over sine of theta is equal to cos sec of theta. Okay, so that is equal to cos sec of theta. So the third letter to help you to remember, okay? Second one. So to simplify this, we know that sine of 90 minus theta is equal to cos of theta. So just write this down. That equal cos of theta. But then cot of 90 minus theta is equal to tan of theta. So just write tan of theta first. And we know that tan of theta is equal to sine of theta over cos of theta. So that will give me cos of theta times by sine of theta over cos of theta. And now we just simplify this out. So these two can cancel out. So that will give me sine of theta. There you go. Last one. So cos of 90 minus theta times cot of theta. So we know that cos of 90 minus theta is equal to sine of theta. So just write this first. So it becomes sine of theta. And we times by cot of theta. Now remember, tan of theta is equal to sine of theta over cos of theta. But then cot of theta, we just flip it, right? Because this cot is equal to 1 over 10. So therefore, this becomes cos of theta over sine of theta. So cot becomes cos of theta over sine of theta. And now we can just simplify this out. So these two cancel out. So the answer is equal to cos of theta. There you go. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.